Let's talk ankle sprains. It's probably one of the most unfortunate things when you're dealing with running. You might be out on a course, you might be jumping off a curb or running on trail, and unfortunately you twist and roll your ankle. The common thing that most people do when they're dealing with an ankle sprain is they'll rest and they'll wait 2 or 3 weeks and they'll go back to running. Unfortunately, an ankle sprain isn't that simple, and there's a lot of things that happen when you rest and you don't go through the right rehab processes. So unfortunately, an ankle sprain isn't as simple as just an ankle sprain. If you don't rehab efficiently, if you don't bring in the right movements at the right time, you get a lot of bridging of scar tissue in the anterior and front gutter of your ankle. So it's kind of like leaves in the gutter of your house. If you don't clear the leaves out, the rainwater can't pass through. If you don't clear out and you don't take that scar tissue away from the ankle, it's going to start to impact the range of motion. Subsequently, it's going to impact your strength, your stability, and your ability to run efficiently as well. So really try and get onto some nice early rehabilitation for your ankle sprain that actually will also allow you to get back to running sooner as well. So what is an ankle sprain? An ankle sprain is when you stretch the ligaments on the front and outer portion of your ankle. So there's 2 ligaments at play over here. Your first one is called your ATFL, and the one on your side is called your CFL. So your ATFL stands for your anterior tibiofibular ligament, and your CFL stands for your calcaneofibular ligament. But the acronyms are a lot easier to remember. How do you determine if these ankle ligaments are actually sprained? It's hard to do the orthopedic test by yourself, but palpation is always a really nice way. So if you palpate onto the front of the ankle, just in front of the outer bone, that's typically going to be where your ATFL is tender. And if you palpate just under the actual bony bump on the outside of your ankle, that's where your CFL is going to be tender. The most common ligament to go is your ATFL, and you don't always get the CFL, so just be aware of that. So what happens when you've got an ankle sprain? There's 3 things that typically take place over here. The first thing that gets affected is your range of motion, your ability to flex and dorsiflex your ankle. The second is your strength, so your ability to do a calf raise, either double leg or single leg. And lastly, your stability, your ability to stay on one leg with changes in terrain, atmosphere, environment, and some movement, which is obviously a lot of what happens whilst you run. So there's 3 different tests that you can do in order to determine if you're affected in all 3 components. You can do a knee to wall test for your range of motion, trying to see how far you can drive your knee to a wall before your heel starts to lift off, and obviously you compare to your good side. A single leg calf raise test for endurance. How many maximal calf raises can you do on one side versus the other, where you're raising up for 2 seconds, pausing for a microsecond, lowering down over 2 seconds, pausing before you go for your next rep. And so making sure they are good quality reps. And finally, a nice simple stability check. Can you hold your balance in your single leg for a minute on one side versus the other? And if you can do it for a minute, can you then do it with your eyes closed? And what is the difference side to side? Using these 3 different tests will tell you where you're limited from range, strength, or stability, and helps us formulate an action plan to get your treatment on track. As per always, seek some professional help, either a GP, an orthopedic or a sports medicine consultant, a physiotherapist, or a health professional in your home country to determine the severity of your injury and what your action plan needs to be as well.